Hey guys, so we had a few new models that dropped recently, starting with GPT Image 2, which just dropped last night. And then we also have Kimi K2.6, which, as you know, Kimi is my favorite coding model. And yeah, we also have Claude Opus 4.7, which we're going to take a look at all of these in the video today. So what's new with GPT Image 2? So this model has basically increased how well it can do text in images. A lot of models were struggling with text, but now we see good text from Nano Banana and also Grok. But GPT Image 2 has increased its text accuracy to about 99%, which is a huge difference here. But you're also seeing a huge difference in the price here if you compare it to something like Nano Banana 2. GPT Image 2 is a lot more expensive, and I actually have access to it here, so I'm going to give it a prompt so you can see how well it does. And I also want you to note how long it takes to create this image. So I'm going to give a prompt to GPT Image 2, and then I'm also going to give the same prompt to a different model and show you the difference in speed there. Okay, so the prompt I'm going to give it is a labeled diagram of different fruits. And I'm just going to run this with GPT Image 2, and I'll leave the aspect ratio at 16:9. And I did leave the quality here at the best, which is high. And then I'm going to switch over to Nano Banana 2, and notice this took 220 credits. On Nano Banana 2, this only takes 80 credits. And we're going to see the difference in speed here as well. Now, if you're wondering what platform I'm using here, this is called Mate. It's what I use for all of my image and video models. Now we have our Nano Banana 2 generation here, and our GPT Image 2 is still going. It just finished. But it did take about twice as long as the Nano Banana 2 generation. I just had to cut a bit of the video out there because I made a mistake while I was speaking. But yeah, basically we can see that all of the text is correct here on Nano Banana 2. It doesn't look like there's any mistakes. And then if we look at GPT Image 2, I mean, there's not really any mistakes here, but it's a lot less detailed than this one. And yeah, Nano Banana 2 is a lot cheaper as well, so I would say still stick with Nano Banana 2 for now. Let's look at the models here in OpenRouter. So we have a compare feature here. So this is Nano Banana 2 versus GPT Image 2. And basically, GPT Image 2 has a higher context, which is what it's being praised for right now. Apparently, the reasoning is much better, and it can solve math equations and stuff like that and put them into images. But I'm pretty sure Nano Banana can do the same. It just has a lower context here, and it has reasoning as well. Both have reasoning. So yeah, as you saw from the example there, I think Nano Banana did a better job. And then if we go down here to the pricing, the input pricing for GPT Image 2 is way more than double the input pricing for Nano Banana 2. And we see the same thing for the output here. It's actually $15 per million tokens output, and Nano Banana is only $3 per million tokens. So there's a huge difference in cost here. And in my opinion, you're getting better performance with Nano Banana 2 anyway, so I'm just going to stick with that. But obviously, since GPT Image 2 is a newer model, you're going to see a lot of hype for it right now, even though it's not as good as Nano Banana 2 and it costs a lot more. So yeah, let's go ahead and look at the other models now. So this week we got Kimi K2.6, which is an upgrade on Kimi K2.5. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that Kimi K2.5 has been my favorite model for a while now. So if you head over to the Kimi platform here before we check it out on OpenRouter, we can see that they have a whole lot of different features that you can use here. So basically you can either type a prompt in here, or you can specifically ask it to create a document or something like that. You can also use Agent Swarm here, which basically what it does is you ask it to do something and it spins up a bunch of agents to complete that work for you. Previously on Kimi K2.5, the limit on Agent Swarm was 100 agents, which is huge already. So it can spawn 100 sub-agents and complete whatever task you've given it. Now on Kimi K2.6, that limit has actually gone up to 300, so that's a huge improvement, even though 100 was already too much. But yeah, we also have Kimi Code here, which is the coding IDE thingy that you have in your terminal. You can think of it like Claude Code basically. And then we also have Kimi Claw here, which is basically OpenClaw, but it's hosted by Kimi for you. So if you have one of these subscriptions, you can just open up OpenClaw from here. But as you know from my previous videos, I've stopped using OpenClaw because I just don't really have a use case for it. And I'm sure most people don't really have a use case for it. They're just using it because it's hyped up at the moment. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this model on OpenRouter. Now I'm going to compare this with Opus 4.6, which you might think is a bit of a stretch to compare these two models, but I actually think that Kimi K2.6 comes out ahead in this comparison. So in context length here, it's only 262k context tokens, and we have 1 million for Claude here. But other than that, we actually have very similar scores here on artificial analysis. So for intelligence, this actually scores 53.9. And if we look at Claude Opus 4.6 here, it's only at 53. So this is actually 0.9 more intelligent here. And if we look at the coding and agentic scores as well, it's slightly lower than Claude's, but like just by a tiny amount. Obviously, we can say the same about the intelligence. Kimi K2.6 is only slightly more intelligent than Claude 2.6 here. But I actually want to draw your attention to something that's happening on Twitter or X right now. So a lot of people have been saying that Claude has been nerfed recently. So they're saying they're using Claude in Claude code, and basically it's not performing like it used to. You need to tell it stuff 2 or 3 times before it can understand exactly what you want it to do. And even then, it's still making mistakes and stuff like that. And I believe the reason for this is because they've added a new model to their system called Claude Mythos, which we can see here. And this is a 10 billion parameter model. It's huge. It's not released to the public yet. I'm sure you guys have seen the news about this already. But basically, I think that it's using up so much of their system resources that they're not serving Claude Opus and stuff at full power anymore. So yeah, I think in my opinion, you should stay away from Claude right now until they have all of that resolved. Kimi is a great alternative, as you've seen here. And if you look at pricing as well, on input, it's only 80 cents per million tokens. With Claude 4.6 here, it was $5 per million tokens. And then for output here, it's $3.5 per million tokens. And on Claude 4.6, it's $25 per million tokens. Now, I do want to mention here that 4.6 is not the latest Claude model. I was just using it because that's usually what Kimi is compared to on Twitter at the moment. But the latest Claude model is actually Opus 4.7 here. And if we scroll down, we can see that it does have a higher score here than Kimi, but obviously it has a higher price as well. So this has gone up to $25 per million tokens output and $5 per million tokens input. And I'm pretty sure this is also nerfed as well, because we can see posts about this as well on Twitter here. So yeah, these are the latest models that came out this week. Just to recap, GPT Image 2, which is slower and in my opinion not as good as Nano Banana 2. So this is the Nano Banana 2 output. This is the GPT Image 2 output. And then we have Kimi K2.6, which I recommend you get on the Kimi platform here. And by the way, if you're on the Kimi platform here and you use Kimi code, previously they used to give you 3 times your usage when you're using Kimi code, but now they've moved away from that and they actually give you a token pool. So when you're using Kimi code here, you basically use tokens from that token pool. And finally, we have Claude Opus 4.7 here, which, as I've showed you, is a bit better than Kimi K2.6, but according to Twitter, it's nerfed right now, so I would stay away from that at the moment, at least until they launch Claude Mythos, and then just go to Claude Mythos, skip over Opus for now. And if you're wondering about this platform I'm using to compare models on, it's called OpenRouter. And basically how it works is, instead of getting different subscription plans to each AI, You just put prepaid credits into this site, and then you get one API key that you can use any of these models with. So yeah, I use these when I'm testing out different models, and I recommend you do that as well instead of paying huge subscription fees to each of these models separately. But yeah, this has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Congratulations, you've reached the end. Your reward, the sacred like button. Smash it.